Hi everyone, welcome back to another fly time video. What you see in the vise, and I hope I've done it some justice, this is the original yellow owl. So the original yellow owl is not the CDC version that a lot of people associate nowadays with the yellow owl. This is actually an original wet version. It was tied by, I believe, a local angler from Loch Leven, and it was tied to represent some of the curly bum buzzers that they find there. And there's a few other variations that kind of came off this, like the Aussie owl. I think there's a Stan Headley version too, where there's some peacock curl put into play. So I will try and tie some of those up at a later date, but I wanted to do this justice. I wanted to give it a shout out as the original wet version, or the original yellow owl as a wet version or a wet fly. So I hope you like the video. Let's get on with some fly tying. The hook in the vise is a Fario barbless size 12 FBL 301, and the literature I found on the original pattern says to use primrose fly tying silk. So I'm assuming it more than likely have been Purcells. So yeah, something along those lines. But Purcells are very hard to find nowadays. You're more than likely going to be looking for an alternative. You can use uni thread in light Cahill. Or the other alternative I'm going to be using in this instance is Gordon Griffiths Sheer Primrose in 14/0. Now I'm just going to start with a quick thread base. You can leave yourself a little bit of a gap behind the hook eye if you like. I'm just going to work the thread wraps just down to where the bend starts. Tails, brown partridge, so I'm just going to take a few fibres, measure those out, get them trapped in. So I'm going to measure them out to around about the hook shank length. For the ribbing, it's black floss or sewing thread. I'm using black floss, so that's simplified black floss. Just going to catch that all in. Quickly tidy that little section up there. Okay, just going to give a quick spin. Open the thread up just so it's laying flat. Just help me build the smoother taper. I'm just going to work the thread wraps all the way back down, back up. And I'm just going to build up the taper from there. So I'm going to go 3/4. And 3/4 that distance, and then back in there. So basically just work that taper in. A few extra turns for the rotary function. Just going to twist that. And then the ribbing. Now, I imagine at that point you could put in some varnish or some UV resin if you're worried about the durability of the fly. I imagine a trout's teeth will get into that body section pretty quickly, so I'll leave that up to you. Okay, for the hackle is brown partridge again. So let's work that a little bit back. Drop in the brown partridge. Just try not to do that. I've not seen anywhere in the literature that says how many turns of the partridge to put in. What I do find though, I'm just going to show you quick, is if you go into that third turn, a lot of the time the partridge starts to get a little bit long. So I would always stick to 2 turns, unless you've got a nice small piece of partridge that you can get away with that with. So from there, I go through it, and front. Kick all that forward so I can then trap it in nice and neatly towards the hook eye, just like so. So just pay attention to how long the hackle fibers are on. I'd always recommend rather go sparse than overdress anyway. Just got a little bit of fluffy stuff going on that. So there you go, hackle fibers in. For the wings, hen pheasant secondaries. Measure them out to around about the halfway mark of the tail. I like to go ever so slightly longer than shorter. Okay, just make sure I've got that sat where I want it. It's not quite got according to plan, just quickly backtrack, reposition. From there I can go into the scissors. Trim off nice and tight. I'm just going to quick tidy up with a thread. We're finished. Snip off, varnish, and we're done. Right, hope you've enjoyed that.